Hello guys and welcome to our podcast, Mental Wealth Conversation. My name is Derek Were.
Hello, my name is Lillian Simiu and I am a mentor, peer counselor and a mental health advocate.
I didn't get the chance to say what I do, but anyway, it's okay. So thank you guys. She's doing quite so many things outside there to ensure that our mental well-being is good. This is where you can come and discuss your issues concerning your mental state. We want to create a space where you can feel comfortable to discuss your mental health issues, to have a space where you can ask questions and you can always learn from some of the guests you're going to have on the show. And you can always propose anything, any topic or any discussion you want us to highlight on matters concerning our mental well-being. So be part of us, be part of this journey, mental health, or rather mental wealth conversations with Derek and Lillian.
Subscribe to this and other shows on acute.co.ke.
So today we are going to just discuss why we're having this conversation, the mental wealth conversation, and I'll throw back to Lillian to tell us, why are we having a mental wealth podcast?
Okay, first of all, Derek, I don't understand why you're not telling people what you do and you're just showering me with what's it called, phrases. But Derek also does quite a bit, and I hope that he'll mention that he's also a mental health advocate and among other things that he does in the community. So why mental wealth? Okay, mental wealth is a podcast that will be coming to you, and we'll be talking about mental health issues that affect young people and old people, mental health issues that affect human beings in general. And why we are having this conversation, for me personally, it's because one, I struggle with mental health issues myself, and with time I'll get to say my story. And two, because I interact with very many young people who go through the same struggles. They struggle with their mental health and they don't know what to do. So most of us are walking around with trauma from childhood and many other things, and we don't know how to navigate life. And I believe that mental health is one of the things that will help you to be able to achieve your full potential. If you have that goal that you want to achieve, whether you want to be a pilot, teacher, politician, if you're not at peace with yourself, it's hard for you to do it. But once you're able to deal with the issues that you have within and be able to cope with your emotional and psychological challenges in a positive way, then that means that you'll be able to achieve your full potential. So I think that's why. And the reason why we called this mental wealth, it's because we want this to be a positive space where we look for solutions, where we have positive conversations. We talk about things that are affecting us, but we also try and see what is it that we can do in our capacity to be able to better the situation in our lives and those of the people surrounding us. So with that, I think I'll throw back to Dave.
Thank you so much. As she said, I think she has said much about mental wealth conversation. We want to create a safe space where we can discuss issues concerning your mental state, your well-being, which is key. For me, I think for me to be today here, to be part of this conversation is because for one reason, I have for a period of time been pushing for this agenda through mentorship, through having deep conversations with people. And we realize as time goes by, people need to be talked to. People want to feel loved, people want to feel appreciated, people want a space where they can freely speak out their minds. And even as a person, I've gotten to points where I felt like I'm losing it. I've quite for a number of times tried to commit suicide, from high school to outside life, trying to find a balance in life, but things are not working out your way. So I think this is something that is quite personal to me. I have had quite a number of conversations relating to mental health issues, guys coming up to ask questions. How do I handle rejection? How do I set my boundary in my relationship? How do I define myself? All these issues. And I dug deeper into it. I read, found ways in which I can understand some of these issues. And for me, it was important. Some of us understand how COVID came and how most of us were really affected, from losing jobs to losing loved ones, being dumped, It has happened. Lilian najua cheka, but
Kuachwa.
yeah, kuachwa. It's Nairobi, and some of us are victims. And we didn't know how to cope up with these issues, and the sad reality is we have lost some people. Some have committed suicide, out of losing jobs, out of losing loved ones, out of being rejected. It can be as simple as we don't want you in our company, and, you feel like you are useless. So mental wealth is here to discuss about you. It is here to make sure you are okay and you have a safe space. So this is probably the reason we're here, to discuss our issues. And we hope you're going to be part of this podcast. All through, feel free to ask questions. We're going to bring you the best of the best guests to share their stories, their journey in this, in handling their mental distress and all these issues. Lilian.
Yeah, and I think just to also mention, the reason why we're doing this is because mental health there's a lot of stigma around mental health, and it's very difficult for us to accept that we are facing challenges, whether it's rejection. Ukiwachwa, you don't even want to tell your people that umewachwa. You'd rather go and drink yourself to wherever, but you can't admit that umewachwa,
Lilian, I don't know kama unajua kuachwa ni nini. You need to, especially men, men who love with their hearts. There are some of us who love, like we love genuinely. And then tunasikia tu ude mataki, like they're not interested,
Ude madai story yako.
I can't explain that feeling, you una feeling like you and then you can't tell your friends. Kuna ile feeling you're a man, you don't need to speak out, and that is one of the issues that we need to discuss. You're a man. How do you even tell your boys you've been hurt? At someone like Derek is crying because of a woman, these are serious issues.
Alia baba.
So you can imagine. Men cry. You guys think men don't cry. Men cry because of women.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think the reason why we're doing this is so that wherever you're listening to us from, whether it's in your office, your bed, at school, wherever, with your friends, just know that mental health is a struggle that most of us go through, and it's okay. It's okay to admit that you're not okay and to seek help. So this conversations is just to help us to understand that these are struggles. They are human struggles that we all go through, and you don't need to suppress your feelings, your thoughts, and whatever it is that is happening to you, because we are all in the same boat. So mental wealth is here to help you, to just help you navigate through life, through the conversations that we will highlight, and also to just learn from each other, because we will have guests. Some of you who will be asking questions will be our guests. We'll invite you to come and share your stories, to come and share your experience. So yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. It will be fun, and I can't wait for us to do this.
We can't wait to host interesting stories and to hear from from guys. I want to challenge Lilian maybe to tell us maybe the hardest time she has ever felt, an issue that really paralyzed you. Let me use that word, paralyzed you. We want to hear stories.
You want to hear stories?
People want to hear stories. Yeah, so maybe share with us one of the hardest moments you've had as a person, handling a person's case, but handling yourself.
Handling myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for putting me on the spot. But I'd say karibu niseme kuachwa, but no.
It is okay. But it's okay
actually.
to be dumped. It's okay to be. It's normal. It's okay to be okay. Not okay.
Unaachana na wewe ndo unasuffer heartbreak. How is that? But for me, my hardest time, I'd say, was in high school, when I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't understand a lot of things that were happening. We had a lot of family issues. And apart from that, I also had my internal struggles as a person. I wasn't doing so well in school. I was in a school I didn't like. I was bullied. There were so many things that were happening that caused me to go into a state of depression, and I had suicide ideation, because there were many things that combined. This story tu najaribu kuikata, but we had family issues and I had my own struggles in school. And those two mixing up, because they were very intense at the time. And remember, I was a teenager, so there's all these changes that are coming, and you're not understanding. So that, going through what I went through and not understanding what it is, and I didn't know even who to go to, was a very challenging part for me, and I didn't understand that I was suffering from a mental health issue. It took me finishing high school, to go outside and start learning these things, to understand, okay, so this is what was happening at the time. This was the struggle that I was going through. And just now understanding, so how do I navigate? How do I now try to deal with that? Because the fact that I didn't deal with it in a positive way, because I didn't even understand it, it means it affects me till date. Yeah. And some of the things that I was suffering at the time was as a result of how I grew up and the kind of environment that I grew up in. So I'd say high school was one of my hardest times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You?
Interesting. I think I'll just pick one. No, actually two. From the one that happened when I was in high school and post high school. So I remember we had just cleared primary, and everyone is excited. You're going to this school, and I can say I really tried my best in primary. Sikuanguka sana. I was somewhere. So
unajua kuna watu wako anguka sana, lakini ujue tu walipata 99.
I appreciate. I know candidates.
For one wafike 500.
I know. So everyone is reporting to high school. I've delayed, and then somehow my dad managed to get a school, and I didn't like that school. From the I remember I set my foot inside that school, and I was telling my dad, can we just go back?
Yeah.
Can we just forget?
You're like, this is not it.
This is not what I wanted. This is not what I worked hard for in primary school. But I remember I was the one who went to the bank and paid the school fees. And coming from the ghetto, you feel like I didn't. I think all my life I've always been the one paying my fees, tuition fees and the likes. So I felt like, let me understand my parent for once. He has, spent a lot to buy the boxes, to buy me hizo vitu zote za shule. So I was like, let me just get in. I get into a school, a mixed school, full of crap, teachers not teaching. You're struggling to have meals. And even the kind of students who are in that school, I'm not trying to demean anyone, but most of the students in that school were students who had not really performed well in school, that performed dismally. And for lack of a better word, it was more of an approved school. And for me, I felt like it was a punishment. It was a punishment, and I was not to be subjected to any kind of punishment from how I had performed and my investment in studies and
you
everything.
were alliance material.
I'm not saying I was alliance material. I mean,
in your own right.
I mean, anyone can perform anywhere. So I'm not trying to say there are good schools out there, but we have to agree that schools which don't have structures and they don't give the best a student should get. So to some point, I felt like I'm losing it. And I was like, I think 2-3 weeks down the line, I felt like this life is not worth living. And for me, I had reached a point where I was telling myself, I can't keep on living. Students who are defeated in class are in good schools, Mwashinda na Max Mingi, they are in nice boarding schools, Everyone is admiring their school and the likes. Mimi nimetupwa sijui, I don't know which world. And suicidal thoughts started to, come to me, and I was like, I don't think I need to live. There's nobody here who wants to listen to me. All those crappy stuff. So I remember I planned to commit suicide back in school. That is from 3 weeks in that, a small prison. So I remember trying to convince, should I kill myself or should I not kill myself? And I was starting to think like the things I'm going to miss and etc. So I didn't know whether I was going to kill myself, but I remember I decided to jump off. I was a pilot in school. If you've been in a boarding school, pilots are the ones who sleep at double deckers. So
I never knew.
kitanda, so they're normally called pilots. So I was a pilot in our dorm. So I waited when everyone had just gone for the morning preps, and I was like, I think I'm tired of this. And I remember I jumped, and I wanted to land on the floor with my head. Ooh. But it didn't happen. I landed with my arms, so I broke my arm from that fracas, and I didn't even report back to class. The teachers noticed something was wrong. Still, I was not given permission to go home. You can imagine, and you have broken your arm.
So now?
Sorry.
So now you're not given permission to go home.
Yes,
You've broken your arm.
I've broken my arm, but I'm not given permission. You know,
Why?
there was this. They were telling us from once have homesickness. They will try anything to go home.
So they thought it was homesickness.
Yes, and they were not giving me permission. And trust to me, I was literally not moving my hand, and I could not do anything. So my hand was paralyzed. The hand that I used to write and do every other stuff. So it was paralyzed, and I was not being given permission. Funny enough, there was a silly issue that was happening in that school. There were students who had been found to be suffering from sexually transmitted diseases. It was a mixed boarding school. So they were trying to curb that issue. So because they were not going to give me permission, I went straight to the principal's office, and I told the principal, I think I'm having gonorrhea. And I mentioned some of the signs I'm having in myself. I didn't suffer from gonorrhea. I didn't want to be in that school. And I was given permission to go home. I went home. My dad
And
was
it takes you to lie.
I had
and
to.
say,
I was being forced to be in that place. 1 week down the line, my dad sees me. I'm okay at home. I'm not interested to going back to school and the likes.
So when you went home, what did you tell your dad?
He knew I was not okay. Remember, he actually picked me, and he told me, make sure once you're home, you go to the hospital.
Did you tell them you had gonorrhea?
I didn't tell my dad I have gonorrhea. I mean, how do you tell your dad? From one,
Yes,
you
I
have
wanted to
gonorrhea.
know. I wanted to know what was the reaction.
The principal only wrote medical issues, in that living
You guys
paper,
had good principals. Me, I think in the school I went to, they'd be calling my mom and telling her, okay, this is what is happening with your daughter.
No, they just told my dad, make sure this boy goes to the hospital. He's totally not okay. Gentleman's,
Yeah,
talk.
gentleman kind of thing.
Yeah,
Siwa
so
mama. Hey.
the same day I didn't report to the hospital. In fact, nilifika home nimekula sani kama saba ya chakula. Boarding na njaa. So I didn't do anything. 1 week down the line, the second weekend I was like, I think my dad has paid school fees. Let me just go back to school. So I went back to that school. I finished first term, and I promised I'll never go back. So things had to happen for me to go to another school. Anyway, that was my first experience of suicidal thoughts. And again, it came back way after high school. For me, things have not been working, or things are not working at home. It was a time I didn't have a source of income. There were just quarrels at home, my mom and my dad. And I feel like sometimes we should just be comfortable discuss whenever there are issues at home. It doesn't mean we hate our parents, but there are things that are just not happening the right way. So there
And
was
sometimes if you talk about these issues, sometimes people can feel, your parents can feel like you're being unfair to them, you're going to say this to the world and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like we should also appreciate that these are your individual experiences.
Yeah.
These are your individual experiences that are going to shape how you think, see things, and how you operate in life.
Yeah.
So you have a right. You have a right to say your story the way it is, the way it is true to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So things were not working in our family. My dad and my mom, there were so many fights here and there. You can imagine fights happening at your presence. You don't have a source of income. You're trying to get someone in your life, kadem. But things are not working.
In Nairobi.
Blue ticks kama 1,000,
Umesema una source of income.
Yeah.
Unataka dem.
Okay, hiyo time ilipata kama I was already having a lady in my life. And so, you're trying to move to the next phase in this sort of a relationship.
Sasa next phase hapa ni wapi, Derek? Ni marriage?
Not marriage, in
You're already in a relationship, right?
Relationships have phases. Like today, the first day you're talking stage, you're chatting until 4 a.m. in the morning. And hi babe, I'm going to text you, I'm washing utensils. Hi babe, I'm taking lunch.
I've fallen down.
Hi babe, can we discuss about something? I don't feel okay. Those stuff. So we were just past that stage of
talking.
Yeah, talking. I think some of the texts we text during this stage can draft a very good novel. Sometimes I look at some of these texts that I used to do.
You still have
and
them?
I keep things. I love memories. I remember how I was texting silly things. I can't sleep without you, to be honest, and I'm sleeping. Anyway.
Why were you lying?
It's not lying. It is just enticing someone to...
You're lying to them.
It's not really.
Ati sijui I can't eat. I can't. No, stop lying.
In fact, I remember the times I tell my girlfriend I can't eat. I was eating more. To be honest, anyway.
Madam, mnadanganya huko nje. They are sleeping, they are eating, they are just fine.
Yeah, we are
Block
just
them,
fine.
blue tick them, they won't die.
Yeah, we're just fine. So you can imagine all of a sudden family fights here and there. You don't have any source of income. You're just struggling to survive. You are just having issues with your friends. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to talk to. And then the worst thing, because for me, I was struggling because I have a chain of friends who most of them are extroverts. Extroverts can even talk 1,000, 10, 20,000 words within 2 minutes. And me, I'm a calm person. I love my space. I love my peace, And sometimes when I am surrounded around extroverts or people who are comfortable to have more and more conversations, I lose my energy. I lose myself. And that time I didn't know by then I used to lose myself when I was surrounding myself with people who are extremely extroverted. So you can imagine extroverts have time to talk to you. Most of the time they don't have time to listen to your story, and things are messy at home. I have this lady who I'm calling my girlfriend who is literally pushing me away, from her life, So life is just hard. I'm trying to contact this other person to, share my story. But again, I'm like, apana. I am a man. How do I stand to tell people that I'm struggling? I feel like life has come to an end.
What are feelings?
The feeling you wake up in the morning and you feel like, why am I waking up in the morning? Others are busy working. Am I even, important in this life? Those are the kind of thoughts I had. And I felt like I'm really useless. It took me close to 2 years to have the confidence to openly discuss issues with people, to just tell somebody, by the way, I think I'm depressed. By the way, I feel I'm stressed. I feel like things are not working. It took me long. But I can say for me, having the courage and finally having the ability to speak my issues liberated me. It gave me the freedom to live once again. That I can freely express myself, that it is normal to be angry, it is normal to feel depressed. It is just normal. Everyone wants to, yes, feel loved, to feel accommodated. But at times, the first step to feel accommodated is you allowing people to accommodate you. And that is what I lacked, and that is what most of us lack. And for me, I said, I want to have more conversations with people about mental health issues. I want to be an ambassador to create space where we can discuss these issues.
Yes.
If somebody dumps you, maybe they were never meant to be yours. I know that feeling. It is a very hard feeling. Me, I've been there, I've been heartbroken, I don't know how many times. But anyway.
Hali ya game.
Ni Nairobi, ama? I don't
Hali ya
know.
game.
Ni hali ya game. So, things do happen. And the earlier we discuss, the better. I know this guy normally says, the moment we stop talking is the time we start fighting. So we have to discuss these issues. And yeah, that is my story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful. And thank you for sharing that, because I think many people many of our listeners will resonate with that story, and just you sharing your struggles. And I think the essence of this, us sharing that we also have struggles, yet we're in this space because we know, we are psychologists, we've just struggled, and therefore we've gone out of our way to try and learn more about this struggle and also create awareness about it. So that's what we are doing, and that's what this podcast will be about.
Sure.
So be on board and let's have fun while learning.
Be on board. And we are not the best in this podcast. We are also learning here. And we just want to have a space where we can discuss our issues and feel that there's somebody who wants to listen. And in our podcast, we'll allow you to send message, text. Whenever you think of a topic we should highlight, we should discuss, feel free. This is a space you can always come and, learn something new, feel loved, feel appreciated. And we are asking you to just be with us in this journey. And as we discuss this, I want Lillian and I to maybe highlight some of these topics. We have talked about mental. But people are like, what is mental health? And then what are these topics that these guys are going to be discussing about? I need to know, somebody might be passing through a difficult time and they don't know whether it relates with mental health conversation. So I don't know whether you can highlight one or two and we can, shed light a bit on that topic.
Okay, so when we talk about mental health, there are very many things that impact our mental health or mental wellness. And it's the everyday things that we we resonate with, whether it's our work, whether it's school, whether it's relationships, whether it's family and the situations that family bring and people. It's a lot of things. So some of the things that we'll be discussing are things related to you yourself, and things like self-awareness, of self-esteem when it comes to relationships, things like accepting rejection, things like how to deal with toxic relationship, heartbreak, those kind of things. And I think I'll also give Derek a chance to just highlight some that he has.
You've mentioned things that are very close to my heart. Healing from heartbreak. For some of us, it takes ages. For some of us who love, I normally say, I can't really say women are bad or men are bad. Bad people are bad people. They don't have a gender. And of course, I've always had an issue when we choose to group men to be this type, we group women to be this type. A bad person is always a bad person. So, yeah, when it comes to the issue of toxic relationships, some of us have really indulge ourselves in toxic relationship, a relationship that is only one-sided. You are investing your energy, your time, your resources, and it is not being reciprocated. That could be a sign of a toxic relationship. You know, your emotions are there, but the other partner doesn't invest equally. You know, and in this podcast, I believe we have to tell you time and again, a relationship, whether be it a friendship, be it a parent-child relationship, there must be mutual benefit from it. I have to be present for you, you have to be present for me, and we have to have these lines. So maybe the other topics that we're going to highlight in this podcast include why you should stop making people happy. So it is always important. I know we always want to make people happy. We want to make those around us feel, you know, it is good, it is nice, it is wow. But in this topic, even the way we have highlighted happy in quotes, there are some of us who go extreme ways to make people happy. And these are the extreme ways. You realize, for example, you have 1,000 bob. You need that 1,000 bob as a person to either buy your meal or either to, you know, to ensure your life is moving. But because you want to make people happy, and I'm using the word happy in quotes, you have your friend is asking you for 1,000 bob so that he can take his girlfriend out. Because you want to make people happy, you decide to send that 1,000 bob to your friend and deny yourself basic things. You know, or you have a girlfriend. Let me use a good example. Some of us men, me, I'll say openly, my first time to Fuliza was because I was sending that money to a lady. My first time to Fuliza.
What?
Yes, I'm being honest.
Na mimi mbona sifuliziwi? Like nothing has ever happened to me.
Of course, don't
like
tell
that.
you. You know,
I hear stories
you.
about I hear stories about people fuliza, and I hear stories about people literally moving mountains.
Yeah.
I'm like, kwani nimekutana na nani? Anyway,
Yeah, but we'll never tell you ati tumekufulizia, you know. You'll be like,
I mean, gosh, sijaifulizio. That one I know.
And then men will be like, no, it's okay, I'll send you, don't worry. But you don't know the mountains he has moved, you know. There are times, you know, a friend of mine will be like, Niaje bro, I really need 500 bob. I am in a big shit.
Big shit ni dem manado.
But the big shit is the lady doesn't have money to go and do makeup. It can be that. So we are trying to tell you guys, ladies and whoever is listening to this podcast, it is not your responsibility. Don't go past your don't go past your means. If it can't work, it can't work. If you don't have that money, just be okay to say you don't have that money. And it drives me, or rather it takes me to the next kind of a topic we're going to discuss, the power of saying no. This is a big issue that we have had. People don't have the capability and the energy and the stamina and, you know, all those stuff to say no. You know you are not in a position to help someone, but you don't say no. You know you don't want to come to my event because we don't even bond, but because you don't want to make me feel bad, you don't say no. Like, let me just go. You know you have a colleague you're working with. You're not even friends, but they have a party at their place. And because all of you have been invited, you'll be like, let me go. And you know it doesn't suit you. You'll rather spend your whole day sleeping or, you know, watch movies and do other stuff. But because you are struggling with the power of saying no, you want to please people, you want to make the whole world happy, which it doesn't happen, you end up making decisions because you're worried about how the other party will feel like. So really, I think these are some of the things as a mental wealth conversation we're going to highlight and take you through it in bit by bit to make you sure you understand where you should set the boundaries.
Okay, I think Derek has mentioned quite a bit, and we have said a lot in this first episode. But to just summarize, this is a safe space where we will be having conversations that regards to your emotional and well-being, because that's what mental health is.
Yeah.
To your emotional and well-being and everything that you need to know in regards to that. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. And we are hoping that you will be in tune for the next, as we record our subsequent episodes, and you can be able to learn and have fun while at it. Thank you so much. Have a good day or night, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah. Goodbye.
This production is done by Acute Media.